So,
Onto the line.
onto the line, yes.
A hip hop, a hippie to the online, and don't stop rocking to the bing bang boogie.
Okay,
I don't remember the rest of the lyrics.
okay. Let me just double check that we connected to YouTube.
Here's the thinking emoji.
We did. We are live. Um, so that's that.
That's good.
Oh, I have a thing. Sorry, I'm not completely prepared because, I mean, this is the first one of these, so.
True.
Hey everybody, it's Bananimation and this is the Critique Stream. Follow that link in the description to my Discord server, and after you read the rules, send us an original character or piece of art. We'll let you know what you're doing right and what you could be doing better. You can submit as much as you want, and no level of skill is required. Without any further ado, let's get started. That's what my little script thing says, but there's nothing in submit.
You could have had people submit beforehand.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You're just like, I'll just wait.
Well, the thing is that with the other stream that I do, it's important to not let people submit until the stream is about to start. Hi says possible questions to discuss: how to not draw the head too big, what to focus on, improving the most, tips on drawing perspectives, tips on getting references from.
Wait, where's this? Where are you reading this?
He put this in submit.
Ah.
I'm just gonna stick Discord on the screen, and then we can.
That's a good way of doing it.
Do stuff from in there. Let's see if I can grab the frame here and kind of make it a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
Tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready. He wants us to critique this character of his.
Alright. So, you want to go first, or should I?
I don't have anything to say immediately. Do you already have something? Because go for it.
I could probably say a few things. I just want to read his quick little note really fast.
Yeah.
I can pull up the thing. Oh, show up for me. There you go. Alright, possible questions, guys. Focus on improving most, tips on drawing perspectives, tips on getting references from I feel.
That second thing where he says "I feel" it's starting a new message, but it's weird because
where to get references from. I see.
Yeah.
So first thing I noticed is just he's right where it says it's too bland. There's nothing. There's the hat, obviously, but take away the hat, there's not much to him. You know, there's no face. There's nothing that about him that's interesting. Usually, you can tell something about the face or anything. There's just a generic smile, and the pose is very bland.
Well, to be fair with the pose, this is I recognize that it's my drawing style. This is from a Draw Fast stream.
Oh, fair enough.
So I guess I drew this, so we can't critique the drawing skills. I mean, you can go for it, but it's from a Draw Fast stream, so.
All right. Well, I can't critique that too much, but I guess this is just a suggestion. Then just always focus on silhouette and how to portray character through the silhouette. What conveying.
Yeah.
Because it's even when standing still, there's a lot you can notice about someone. So some people will rest on one leg, and be in a relaxed pose. And if you're that kind of person, you would think, yeah, everyone stands like that when they're resting. But then you'll notice that some guys, they'll stand with their legs wide apart and their arms crossed. then some girls, they'll like just kind of like, this is very generic and stereotypical, but like I'm just saying as an example. Some girls will like kind of have their legs together, kind of arms and like hands clasped or something like that.
Typically, guys have their legs apart. Women have their legs together.
Yeah, it's weird to me, like, because I don't do that. I keep my legs together, so yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm the weird person, but
But yeah, that's the silhouette is interesting that you bring that up. That's a really important thing to consider when you are designing a character, or probably more so when you're just like putting a character in a pose. If you're just to black out the whole drawing so that it's just a silhouette, you have to make sure that it's still distinguishable and interesting. Probably the best example of this is Mickey Mouse, and how you just need 3 circles to recognize him.
So actually, interesting fact about Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
There's actually a rule where no matter what angle he's at, you will always see those 2 ears at the like in view. They'll never like obstruct each other.
Yeah, because it's important to his silhouette.
Yeah, and that's not even just in like the 2D or main animation. In any depiction of picture, it's like, whoa, all right. This is a bit extreme, but like even in the 3D games, they have to make an engine not engine, but like a system specifically to rotate the ears. Yeah, so it's just interesting.
Weird.
But
yeah,
what I said about drawing the head too big, I have another comment for that. Is I didn't find this out till much later. Proportional drawing. So like always think of where is something in proportion to the other thing. So for me, like say for the mouth, for example.
Okay.
The mouth is usually, not always, it's individual, but like usually it lines up with the middle of the eye where the mouth ends. So if you like kind of go up with your mouth, it meets with the middle of your eye.
I don't follow. Oh, you mean, okay, I got you.
Yeah. So like if you put your finger on the end of your mouth and then pull up, it meets to your middle of your eye.
You're talking about like the width of your mouth, right?
Yeah. So
to illustrate,
yeah, it's fair to show them.
Let me get a bigger pen here. If these are your eyes, and this is your mouth, the corners of your mouth typically will line up with the center of each eye.
Yeah. And then for the head specifically, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe it's 8.5 heads is the height of each human.
Of each what?
So a human head has 8.5 heads of height.
I thought it was 7. Even so, this varies a lot. I find that... Okay, so when you're doing cartoon drawings, obviously the proportions can vary wildly. But I find that, in general, when I'm drawing people, despite their huge heads, one thing that helps me to make sure that they're proportioned correctly is just to make sure that the crotch area, their pelvis, is in the middle. So I can see from my selection here that for this one it's about at the belly button. So like I would want to make the legs on this guy longer. And I select it again and I can see that I moved it down enough. So that's like my most commonly used rule of thumb is that the center of a person is around the like pelvic area.
Yeah, I get it.
And it's helpful to have a rule for height like that when you have, like I said, characters with like different, like with really big heads, like anime characters.
Yeah, because like obviously that one's stylized. Because like I have a very big problem of like always getting the legs wrong. I always make my legs really short because I always forget about them.
Yeah, it's easy to get legs short when you're like zoomed in, and that's all
Yeah.
you can see.
Yeah, it's like, oh, the legs are like that long. Yeah, good. And then you realize, oh, I just made her like a dwarf. That's all right. um,
Yeah, it's
but
one thing that's important when you're making a drawing and you're sort of in the sketch stage measuring out where everything's going to end up. It's important that you keep an amount of distance from your drawing so that you know that you can see the whole thing at once. Because getting
Yeah,
up
'cause
close will cause you to make those mistakes.
yeah, always focus on what was it? I have a friend that suggested something to me, or not suggested, but told me the actual levels of detail. It's, the base, secondary, tertiary details, something along that.
Tertiary?
Tertiary details, secondary details, and then final. That was his rough thing. He always this reminds me because I always skip secondary details. I go straight from tertiary to instant lots of detail.
Something about this character that I wanted to mention before was that while the panda hat goes well with the jacket and is very cute, I don't think that the white rim on it looks good right next to his white hair.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too. At first, I thought it was just his hair, to be honest. I was like, what's going on? Why is there a line there? It's like, oh.
He's got like partially black hair and it's up in a couple buns.
Yeah, it's just like, just find a better rim is all. Just make, like, it can be like a, I don't know how you'd fix that, because black would just look like, not like a panda anymore, but like, maybe just like I can't think of really a way to fix that per se, but like, it's a problem.
Well, you could make the rim of the hat dark, but the problem is, just like you said, Nick, where you couldn't tell the hair apart from the hat. You don't want to put things that are identical in color right next to each other because it makes it hard to tell what you're looking at. But there are a few ways that you could remedy that. You could change his hat out entirely or get rid of it entirely. You could make the rim of his hat a different color, whether it be some bright accent or black like the rest of his hat, or you could change his hair color. I don't know how important the hair color is or anything like that, but you might want to consider adjusting one of those things in some way.
Did you say something about perspective too? You said like what tips for perspective?
Yeah, he did. His character is really cute, by the way, and I do like the haircut and I like the white hair, even if it doesn't go next to the hat well.
Yeah, I always forget. It's a compliment. It is good, but
I can't skip over what you're doing right part.
Yeah, it's like the thing is when you go over what's right, like the thing for me when critiquing, I only go over what someone does right after they fix something, if that makes sense, or if I notice they're improving. Like if I just see like, oh yeah, you did this, like I can't judge it because I haven't seen their other work,
It is nice to get like accurate compliments, like for example, if you've been working on perspective and you made a breakthrough and learned how to do something right, it's nice for someone to recognize that.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be a bigger boost to your self-esteem than just someone generically saying that they like the way your character's hair looks or something.
Yeah.
As for perspective,
I work in 3D, so I don't have much, I don't work with much perspective. I work with, actual things, so take it away.
I feel like it'd be easier to say things about perspective if we were looking at a piece of artwork that needed help with perspective.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't need help with perspective because there's not much perspective in it. It's like, well, How are you just supposed to judge that, really?
But while we wait for any more submissions to roll in, I can take a minute to kind of talk about different kinds of perspective.
Why don't we just turn this into like a talk show until someone submits something? Just talk about what like different things about art that's like interesting.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, this is all brand new, and we don't really
so
have a formula yet, so we're just kind of testing the waters anyway.
Yeah, no one's ready.
So,
I'm just surprised because you usually get a lot of submissions while you're like in your other streams, so.
yeah, well, I mean, people really like to have their characters drawn for free, but they don't really like you to tell them that
You're doing wrong.
that they're doing stuff wrong. So,
well,
but getting feedback and actively striving to recognize what you're doing bad and improve on those areas will help you improve as an artist. I mean, it's pretty plain and simple.
2 + 2 = fish.
I'm sorry?
It's a quote I use all the time. It's like,
oh, is it like there's a 2 and there's a 2? It's hard to draw 2 sideways and mirror.
It is, but yes, that's kind of a joke. Like, I just like you saying that because like people don't get it at first because they think I'm just being stupid. They're like, no, there's a method to the madness.
Okay.
But anyways,
this heater worked really quick. It's already hot in here. Okay. So, for perspectives, there are point perspective methods. There is 3, 2, 1, and 0 point perspective. I will start from the top and I will start from the bottom and I will move up. And all of these, the horizon line is important. There's grass down here and there's a sky up here. This is the horizon. Do you know how that works? Great. Okay, moving along.
Hold on, can I interrupt for a second?
No.
I actually...
Go ahead.
Alright, after you're done explaining, I want to actually explain 4-point perspective, because it's like a weird thing that's like, whoa.
That sounds like madness and I can't wait.
I know.
Oh, is it like, I'll just wait for you to explain it, but I think I have an idea of what it might be.
Like, get an example up on Google. I would
like
draw
that
it,
sort
but,
of exaggerated forced perspective stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so 0 point perspective is basically no perspective. So it is if you were to draw a cube like this, or that's just a front view. I'll draw it from another view so that it's makes more sense. Okay, so the deal with 0 point perspective is that, whoops,
There's no point to it.
all of the lines are parallel. Well, not like, you know what I mean.
It's also known as orthographic.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So,
Yeah.
these lines are all parallel. The more points that you add, the more the lines will start to converge. So let's look at what 1 point perspective looks like. If you have 1 point perspective, you take the horizon line and you pick a point on it, and one axis of your lines will converge at that point. So if we start out with a square like this, and then we have our, sorry, I already started it like this, but I'm going to do it differently so that we can see 3 sides of the box. The lines will all converge at the point in that axis. So, in 1 point, we still have a lot of parallel lines, but now we also have one set, of converging lines. And it adds depth to the picture. Like, you can see that stuff is going back, and if you were to draw another box back here, you can tell that it's in the distance. It adds depth. So, 2-point perspective. Bet you never saw this coming. It's when there are 2 points on the horizon. Crazy.
What? Wow.
Crazy, right? Okay.
No.
So the way that this works is you still have your lines going towards that your points over there. You've got 2 sets of lines now that go over here. The one thing about perspective that is kind of difficult sometimes when you first start with it, and that I have no idea how to explain properly, is how to know which lines go to what point. And I saw someone being confused with this, and I didn't know how to help her, and I was sad. So now, in 2-point perspective, we have one set of parallel lines and 2 sets of converging lines. Make sense? I hope so, because next up is 3-point perspective, and this is where things get nuts. This is where you have 2 points on your horizon, and a third one wherever the hell you want. And every axis is going to be converging now. Whoops, that ended up a little wonky. Let me darken these to show where the cube actually is.
You're gonna hate my drawing because I'm just doing the very, very basics of like what to do.
Well, I'm doing pretty basic stuff because I'm going so fast here. So that is a 3-point perspective cube. All of the lines of this axis are converging, all of the lines of this axis are converging, and all of the lines of this third axis are converging. They are not parallel, they all go towards each other. This is how this works. 3-point perspective has the most depth. So after showing that whole explanation, I can make this little illustration that shows what cubes look like in all the various perspectives. Zero, one. Oof. Sorry, I'm having a difficult time here.
No, don't worry. I was like struggling with mine because 4 points weird. Oh wait, we got our submission.
Ah, nice.
All right, we're gonna finish this part up with my after you're done with yours.
Yeah, we gotta.
Yeah.
Shoot, how does a person draw? Goodness.
Witchcraft.
Evidently. Okay, so boop, 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 boop.
Like 1, 2, 3, and 4-point perspective also works in not just perspective in the sense of like physical space, but also like composition. So like where the eye leads. You know.
I don't follow. So a 0-point perspective piece is where there's no visual cues for where the eye is going to go. A 1-point perspective for what's it called? I just said the word. Composition
is where everything in the image is pointing to one object. A 2-point perspective is where everything's pointing 3 different into like. Wait, did I say 2 or 3?
I don't know.
Well, 2-point perspective is where it's leading the eye 2 different directions. So like a picture of a pillar, like a church pillar that's leading with the sidewalks going one way and the building is going down into the sidewalk. That would be 2-point. And a 3-point would be like a picture of the same pillar but at an upward angle, so that's like or like downwards angle, so it's facing up at the pillar. So the sidewalks and the buildings are leading down, and the pillars leading up. You know. Maybe I'm just being confusing, but it's a thing. And then that thing I showed, that's 4-point. It's very messy, but sorry. It was literally just like 2 seconds.
So this is wait. So this is 4-point perspective.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just basically sorry for the horrible sketch. I was because I didn't have my tablet plugged in, so I was like, get in. But yeah.
It looks like the cube in the center is just 2-point though.
It's very hard to draw the center cube. Here, let me get a better example. But 4-point is just like where everything everything's leading 4 different ways.
Oh,
down,
damn.
up, left, and right. See?
So you're gonna end up with like curves instead of lines.
Yeah, that's what I did. See, everything's curving.
Let me
except for
open
the
this.
center one. So the center one's the least curved. It's an interesting dilemma.
Try to make it so everyone on stream can see that. That is pretty dope.
Yeah.
Okay, so
let's go to Screaming Cato's one. Because goddamn.
Screaming Cato says this was a sketch I painted over in about 30 minutes, so pretty low hanging fruit art-wise from me, but I was interested in what would make some very rememberable and easily recognized at that character. I've only recently delved into character art with people, as I'm more at home doing still lifes and studies. So
this is design, not like actual rendering, right?
That is also what I interpreted. Okay.
Alright. So design-wise, you want to start or should I?
Well, right off the bat, it's a little bit hard to tell from this picture because the pose makes it so that you can't see the entire character, and I do feel like the sort of like front of the torso is a pretty important part of the design.
See, that's interesting because I'd actually argue it's not. It's not like.
I would say from your waist up, everything there is very important because it's what's most commonly going to be on camera.
Fair enough, but the way I look at design is whatever is the most of that character, show that.
The most what?
What shows the most of your character. So like what exemplifies the character the most, show that, not just this. So like, say if that person, obviously I can't speak. This doesn't directly correlate to character design, but say if someone was an amputee and they had like a prosthetic leg, you'd want to show that.
Okay, well, let me rephrase it then. It's not necessarily going to be the most important part, like thematically or historically, or what's the word I'm looking for? Something kind of like that. To do, because your character is going to have their whole like background and story and all that. It's not going to. Not every character is going to have the same part of them be the most important part to them personally. But for any given character, I would say that area is the most important. It's the most important that look visually pleasing.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree with that. That's the spot that's coming.
Not like the most significant, but it's important to look good there.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'd say like this one could definitely use work because
that
again, if we
sorry.
were to silhouette this, it's a blob with something in the middle, in between her legs, two legs, and a hand jutting out. It's like I should clarify. It's not a bad piece at all. I like the piece, but I'm just saying, what's wrong with it? Because I can be pretty harsh. I realize.
Yeah, I'd say if you were to use this as a silhouette, you might want to move the hair onto the back so that you can see the shape of the body better, and have her holding the cigarette in a way that you can more easily tell that that's what she has in her hand. Um,
There's also the case of like twinning where the leg looks the exact same, and you don't really want to do that. So like maybe have her foot at an angle or something, or
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
or just something to break up the symmetry a bit.
Typically, when I draw feet, one of them will be facing more towards the camera, and one will be showing its side to the camera.
Yeah, that's like like a quick way to do it, but like it works definitely. You know what I mean?
Hmm. I do. I really like her hair. Uh,
The design of it, yeah, like it's very
I like
like
its
fluffy and everything.
poofy and long nature combined.
It
Um,
also the way it looks and tells a lot about the character because it's not very well kept.
hmm
You know, same goes for the eyes. The eyes aren't, how do I say this, energetic. They're very tired looking.
hmm
So
And the pose implies that, so that lines up.
yeah,
Um, as far as colors, which I would probably consider to be my area of expertise, um,
you,
I would say that you don't have a great balance of colors. You have the teal color in her hat uh, stands by itself and is on one end of her character, and that is a huge, like, unbalanced aspect to have. You would either need to change that color to be something that doesn't stand out so much, or add it somewhere else in the outfit to add some balance. Um, and like maybe you could carry the little bits of red in her outfit up to the hat and make that red too, or something close to red. Another thing I would say is that her jeans and her sweater should probably be at least a bit more different in color, because right now, I mean, I can tell that they're two different colors, but they're too similar.
yeah,
As soon as you started applying anything other than natural lighting, they would blend right together.
yeah. See, the problem with me for the colors is just like they just don't go well together, in my opinion. Like the red with the blue, that can work, but in this case, it just kind of like it doesn't emphasize anything or take anything away, so it just kind of, which kind of honestly for me is at least is kind of worse than taking away because then it's just two entirely separate entities. You know what I mean?
Which blue are you talking about? The hat?
No, the clothes because the red is nowhere near the hat. You know what I mean? It's just like the colors are very washed out, kind of darker colors. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Desaturated, darker colors.
yeah, which can work, but in this case, it's just like with the red doesn't really pop as much. It's not like servicing anything, so it's just kind of there, and it's
So,
like
are you saying that, like, the red could serve to contrast, but it doesn't?
yeah, because it's just kind of popping out the side. So like maybe instead she had like a red logo on her back or something, but like on the shoes, with the socks being there, it separates it, which makes it kind of like you know two separate, so it doesn't really pop that much. It's away from the entirety of the blue.
I th-
Nothing's breaking it up.
I think you would be able to move the red up to the hat and use it in a way that it's more intense and less. So, like, add more of the black to the shirt. Don't make the entire hat red, so that you can really use it as like a strong accent to make her kind of stand out without having to make her someone who wears a bunch of bright colors or anything like that.
Yeah, because this is not a character that would wear bright colors, you know?
Mm-hmm. But as an accent, it can really make the thing pop.
But I'm trying to think of it, like, there's definitely something off about the character. I'm just not sure what. Maybe it's like the lack of focus in the eye or anything, really. It's like she's smoking, right? But is there anything else to the character, right? You know what I mean? I'm bad with this too. I always fail to put any kind of meaning into my characters.
I don't know. I would say that her character design overall gives us an immediate impression of the type of person that she probably is.
Oh no, I'm not doubting that. What I'm saying is, in this scene specifically, what is she doing? What is she thinking about? You know, that's one thing that all character design should be able to do. Is like instant. What are they thinking about? You know what I mean?
I don't know about that. That might be more for storytelling and more surroundings involved in that.
I guess.
It is true that, like, as far as trying to figure out what this character is all about from just looking at her, we get a lot of insight as to her personality, but nothing as far as her interests. Although I don't know how important you would deem that.
Yeah, that's a like whatever you're into thing. That's like if you're into like showing off the character story, definitely you want to make something more noticeable other than just she's smoking.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I know the people that smoke and they're great people. And then I know people that smoke and they're awful. It's like I know people that smoke and they're really optimistic. I know people that smoke and they're really pessimistic.
Well, I would say that the cigarette really doesn't add very much.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Combined with everything else that we're given, though, it might add a little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, she has a cigarette, but all sorts of people smoke. But additionally, she looks like someone who...
The pose and, like, the...
She looks like someone who's at least right now very tired and just kind of... She has a look on her face like she's just done. And, so most likely she's smoking to relax because she's tired.
Which I never got, because smoking doesn't actually do anything for you. It just gets you addicted. I never understood it. You know what I mean?
I never had to, sorry. I never had to worry about anything like that because I don't like the smell of cigarettes in the first place. So.
See, I like the smell, but I would be like, no, don't give me that. I'm afraid of it. Like, no, put that away. Same for coffee. I hate coffee. I love the smell of it, but I can't stand the stuff.
Oof, I love coffee so much, but caffeine does me in real bad, so I get decaf when I remember to.
Right. Yeah, so...
I don't know why my body is just not good at processing caffeine.
See, did I tell you about the one time I almost overdosed on caffeine?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. You know those little Mio energy bottles you can get?
Oh my gosh. I think I might see where this is going because my mom made a mistake with those. Go ahead.
I didn't know it was an energy bottle. And I downed it in like 2 hours.
You did what?
I downed it in like 2 hours. That's the equivalent of 15 cups of coffee, and I don't have caffeine, ever. Ooh. I almost had a heart attack.
Oh my god. Did you like have to go to the doctor or anything?
No, because we were like, you'll be fine. So I didn't sleep that night, and then I ran around my block like 3 times.
Jesus.
Next morning. I wish I was exaggerating.
Yeah, my mom did something similar, but she didn't run into as much of a problem. She got the Mio stuff, and she just thought it was for flavoring water. She didn't know it was an energy drink,
Yeah.
just like you. So she had like 4 glasses of it, and she was just like so jumpy and like wide-eyed, and she was like, "I feel great, and I don't know why." And then
Well,
she looked at the label and she realized, and she was like, "Oh, I guess I'm done drinking this today."
well, my thing was like, I thought I felt. I didn't. It didn't kick in till like midnight when I tried to go to bed. And I tried to go to bed. It was like I can't sleep. I'm just very jittery. She's like, I'll work it off. I did 2 push-ups and almost threw up. So I spent the night jittering in the like next to the toilet because I thought I was gonna throw up.
Did you do anything productive?
No,
Fun.
because I felt so. I ran around the house, or not the house, the block, just because like I needed to get off some energy. I otherwise I wasn't gonna be able to sleep. Yeah.
So how much longer do we want to give these people a chance to send us stuff?
How long have we been streaming?
It's been about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
We
That's
don't really
fine.
have like a schedule for this. We can end whenever the hell we want.
Well, we can just turn this into like a bit of a like talk about whatever stream for a bit.
A sort of podcast.
We could, yeah. Why don't we just totally turn this into a podcast for the time being?
Oh, I don't know about that. I'd like to stay somewhat topical.
All right.
We have the Draw Fast stream to get podcasty.
Sure. But that one always turns out hectic.
Yeah.
You know it.
There's a lot
I've
more
always-
people in those.
Yeah, I've always wanted to start like a podcast where everyone draws their own thing individually, but like it's only like 3 people, so it's not too hectic. You know. Anyways, we could just talk about lighting. Just rip into the people's lighting. While we wait, because I love lighting.
We could invade the Art Share channel and... No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Yeah, if you got a thing you want to talk about, go for it. If you have any supporting imagery, you're going to have to put it in Submit, though, so that I can show it on stream.
I could share my own art, and you could critique that if you wanted.
I guess. I know a little bit more about 3D now, so it's not so hard for me to critique it.
Alright. Like, grab something.
Now that I actually know what goes into it and, you know, what ZBrush is.
ZBrush is a magical thing.
I don't know how to use it yet, but I know what it is and what it's for.
We could turn this into a ZBrush stream.
I think that there's... like screen sharing that we can do.
Would your internet support that?
Great question.
Yeah.
I guess
I don't think...
well... I don't know. I simply do not know.
Let's go with this one, because this one's a more recent one, but I still need to work on it.
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
It's...
that one, I need to smooth out some parts before I, like, put that in my portfolio.
The first thing that I notice is her eyebrows are kind of chunky.
Oh, yeah, I hate eyebrows. Like, you don't know how much I hate eyebrows, because you have to simulate the hair, and I'm horrible with simulations. Same with the hair there. I hated working on it. I just like...
It's kind of hard to see what I'm looking at, but I might be able to lend at least a little bit of help there. I don't know how helpful this will be because I haven't gotten into anything like simulating hair yet. But it looks like what you're trying to do with the eyebrow is something where you're kind of making like a patch of fur. But eyebrows are, I mean, they're thinner than that. You can usually see like each individual hair, and there's not a ton of overlap, if that makes any sense.
No, I get you. It's just very difficult.
The hairs are usually very defined, and they don't come out in clumps, and yeah.
No, I know, because, like, okay, let me show you something. I did another sculpt. We should chew my gum rather than just having it in my mouth. Hold on. I did this sculpt, like, I don't remember when, but I did it a bit ago.
I'm also
If you
trying
look at
to... Sorry.
If you look at the eyebrow and the sculpt I just put in, that one, each individual hair is, like, you know, sculpted properly. But with the simulation, it's very difficult.
They are going the wrong direction.
Damn it. Well, I guess I know what I need to fix.
Yeah, eyebrow hair goes up from the middle.
Interesting. Alright, I'm gonna have to remember that.
It's like, and then it, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, if you ever looked in a mirror, you might learn something about how to make a face.
Rude. Very rude. Look, I don't like looking in mirrors, alright?
You can't try and make faces without using a live reference when you've got one at your disposal whenever you need it.
Look, that's what the dead bodies are for, alright?
What? So anyway, this character. Also, her eyelashes are short.
Yeah, you can do on the lady if you want. I was just using the vampire as an example.
I think part of the issue is that the hairs that you've simulated are too like the individual hairs are too thin, and the hair as a group is too thick. Like they're too many.
Huh. All right.
So I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah. That she doesn't have bottom eyelashes.
The colors look good. They look nice and natural.
Yeah, I've been learning to paint the face. Found out there's a lot more yellow in the face than you think, and a lot more blue.
Yeah, there's a whole dang rainbow in your face that you don't know about.
The blockout is, from neck to like the lips are blue. Then the lips to the eye is like red, and then eye to like forehead is yellow. I have a chart somewhere actually.
So here's a pro tip for anyone getting into drawing more realistic faces. There are, if you look for, if you've ever used makeup, there are these color correcting palettes that will show you where you need to put greens and blues and yellows in order to correct colors on your faces, and you can kind of use those as a guide to figure out where those different colors are going to be. Since they're color correcting, you want to kind of go like the opposite of what they show you to put on, or they might show you what's on your face, and then I don't know what there's a bunch of different diagrams out there that you can find. Additionally, you can, of course, look in a mirror and look at your own face. And then there's always the fact that a lot of the times your judgment will be better than you think it is, and if you just go with your gut and put color where you think it belongs, it'll end up all right. Like, I mean, I can specifically remember a time where I was trying to work with this stuff, putting all those different colors in a face, and as far as I could tell, I had put down everything that was needed, but I just got this feeling like this one area of the face really needed some green, and it looked better after I put it there. And no rule told me to do that. I just felt like it belonged there.
Just remember that, like, the most important thing to remember is just, like, the face is not just one blob of tan.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
The most basic thing that you can do to make your face look more realistic is put red in there where things are redder, like the tip of your nose and your cheeks.
And the ass. The silence after that speaks volumes. Here, I found that chart I was talking about. Put in submit. It breaks down the face and tells you like why things are like that color.
He looks like a clown.
Yes, but it's accurate. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this actually helped me realize color so much better than anything else.
Mm-hmm. And this is a really good guide and can really help you get started with that crazy endeavor of putting.
Because like,
color.
You think it's ridiculous, but like, and you'll think, oh, that's just like where's like, at least for 3D. I don't know about 2D, but like for 3D, you think, oh, it's ridiculous where you're gonna like put in those colors and then like that's paint over it. No, you're gonna put in the yellow, the blue, and the red like that, and then pull in the regular skin tones and work from there. That's how I do it, at least.
You have to paint it on thick and then pull it back, pull the opacity down.
Yeah.
It is not going to look like that clown guy when you're done, because it's not going to be that dark.
Yeah, it's really interesting colors of the face.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out her skin and what is bothering me about it.
I can tell you right now.
And I think it might come down to the fact that her entire face has the same texture. Yeah,
so I know it's not supposed to be like that, and I sculpted it not like that. What happened is the normal map got messed up, so like it's not properly using it, and I don't know why.
Is the normal map the one that handles like height stuff?
Yeah, I didn't mean normal map though, I meant displacement map. Displacement is actually physically changing it. Normal map is just calculating the light to make it look like it's rendering it.
Weird.
Yeah.
I'm still getting used to the terminology for all the maps. I mean, like, there have been, like, 6 different terms used to describe a color map.
Yeah, there's the diffuse map, the specular map, the ambient occlusion map, the...
I mean, like, the diffusion, color, albedo, etc. map are all the same dang thing.
Have you gotten to subsurface scattering maps yet?
No.
Okay, so you want to know how crazy that one is? Subsurface scattering is where the light passes through the model, and the map is where the weakest parts of the skin are, and you're supposed to paint in black and white where that is, and have this, and the white is where the light will pass through the most, and black is where it won't pass through at all.
Wait, so is this for like things that you can see through, or like things that light will shine through?
Things that light will shine through,
like your nose or your fingers.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fun, but like holy heck, it's hard to figure out at first.
Oy.
Yeah.
It's weird. There are some things that you can put a light behind, like some pieces of your skin that you can put a light behind and be able to see like veins. It's really weird.
It is. It fascinates me though. The thing is, whenever I talk about how much it's like interesting to me, people think I'm a serial killer. I'm not. It's just like it's interesting.
It's
I
really
love it.
fascinating.
I was talking to another artist friend of mine, and she lives like an hour away, and we kept saying like, yeah, I wish I had a friend that was totally chill with me, like looking up close at their eye, but no one is. And she's the same way, but she's like, yeah, but like, like I don't know anyone that would be. It's like I would be if we lived closer.
I would, or I will sometimes take a mirror and hold it like an inch from my face, just staring at the intricacies of my iris. Because it's so weird looking.
It is. Have you seen the close-up zoom in of the iris, like they took recently?
I don't know. But I mean, I've seen like high res close ups of irises and how weird they look.
Like the one I'm thinking of specifically.
Like more detail that you can see with your naked human eye.
Yeah, the one I'm thinking of specifically, they got so up close you could like firstly, it's dipping down obviously like an iris does, but then you can see like individual strands of it, and it's so interesting.
Yeah, it's wicked. Some
Ali's universe says, "You see, it's me."
where does she say
Hey.
that?
The YouTube chat.
Oh, I forgot to be looking at the YouTube chat.
That's what I'm for.
Let me pull
I
it
don't
up.
forget about the Discord chat. I'm like, oh, there's a YouTube chat.
I gotta switch accounts. One thing I would tell you about this 3D model, about her hair, is you might want to move that part over. You might want to have it a little higher, because it looks like it's coming down to the side of her head.
Yeah.
With how close up this is, it's a little bit hard to tell what her hair looks like as a whole. But from here, it looks like... I mean, you've got some hair that's, like, defying gravity, like going straight up before going over her head.
I know. It's funny because, like, people seem to love this piece. I'm like, why? I did this in, like, 30 minutes. I didn't. I did it in, like, a day, but, like, still.
Where is the chat pop out button? I don't want to load the stream.
The 3 dots and then pop out.
I mean, it's like it won't load. There it is.
Oh.
Pop out chat.
Okay.
There are 4 people watching, so that's kind of neat.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh. This has kind of turned into us talking about different art things that, like, we find interesting.
Yeah. Hang
This
on.
is a lot.
What was I gonna say? What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
I googled irises. They're neat.
They really are.
What's with the scaly thing on this picture? Freaking weird.
I've been trying to study more of, like... I've realized that every time I make a sculpt, I always get the shoulder length wrong. Because, like, it's very easy when making, like, a bust just to assume, oh, the head's, like, this big and the shoulders are this big. And then you zoom out, it's like, yeah, it looks good. But you're not seeing the rest of the body, so you're just assuming it looks good. When in reality, it's very, very, like, small-shouldered. That's another tip for all you artists out there. Make sure you get the right size shoulder when doing busts. Because it's a problem I've noticed a lot for other artists, too.
Men have broader shoulders than women typically.
And that's why you're sexist.
Okay. You guys can still submit. I don't know how much longer we're gonna stick around.
Yeah.
Show off
Give them
your artwork to all of my subscribers.
6 people.
That's a joke, because despite having, what am I at now? 16,000 subscribers?
Yep.
I get
10,000.
maybe like 100 views per video. So
See?
you'll be showing it off to maybe like 50 people because the streams get even less. So good luck with that.
Well, why is that? Do you know why? Or like, a thing?
I I don't know. I mean, it is true that there are videos I get in my subscription box that I don't watch, but I still...
But even that, for
There's
16,000.
There's no one
Yeah,
that I'm
more.
subscribed to that I don't watch any of their videos.
Yeah.
Okay, so Elise? I still don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. But she posted some artworks.
She's posted something spicy. Let me find it. Ah, she did. Which one are we doing first?
The pink one,
The pink one. I see.
because she submitted it first. I don't. She didn't say if these are character or art critiques, but I'm gonna guess art based on knowledge that I have.
The knowledge that these are characters from the show.
They're not from the show. The
Oh.
second one is literally my OC.
Well, I knew that one. I at least knew that one, but I don't know about. Well, I don't watch the show. All right, don't judge me.
No, they're not from the show, but like she's shown me a reference for this character, and it wasn't done up like this, so I think this is like a special drawing of her done up, all pretty.
I see.
Um,
I'll let you take the reins on this one because I have comments, but like you know more about horse anatomy, so I'll let you go
it's
first.
true, I do. And I will say something about the lines, but I'm mostly going to stick with anatomy. A thing about the lines is that they are terribly inconsistent. For the most part, you're using this thickness here, but it is like pretty sketchy, so you might want to work on figuring out how to smooth that out, except of course in these areas where you're intentionally making it jagged to show fur. But
I'm going to interrupt real quickly. Just saying, this is a good piece. We might go a bit ham on this critique though, because we like seeing people improve.
yeah.
So it's a good piece. We're not mean. We just like improvement. I was just like, I can sense you're gonna like just start critiquing and then not say anything nice. And it's like,
So, all right. So the lines are kind of jagged in some places. You might want to work on figuring out how to smooth those out. I noticed that the horn has a thicker outline for some reason, and that some items don't have an outline at all, like the tiara. I will say that the way that specifically that you did the spiral in the back of her hair sits very nicely, and I really like that. And yeah, so that's what I have to say about lines.
Wait, so how would you fix the lines? Because honestly, some people just can't do lines, but like they don't understand how to fix it. Like, what would you suggest?
Okay, so something about lines is this. There are two very common ways that lines end up messed up. The first one being something that shows up in different types of art, which is where people will make their lines too short. They'll sort of build a long line out of a bunch of smaller ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's hard to make those all blend together very well, so it ends up looking like a sketchy mess. let me use a line that isn't straight to better illustrate. Another thing that people will do, and this is usually just a digital problem just because of the way that digital input works, digitizing, is if you draw a line too slowly, it can kind of end up not being smooth then too. So what I have figured out is that the faster you draw a line, the smoother it looks. And what this translates to for me is that most of the time, drawing a line will look like this for me. I will just do it over and over until it looks right. It's pretty much a gamble. But it's more important that it is done fast. And then sometimes I have to do a line in two parts for one reason or another, and that is when I would come in and go slowly and carefully to just detail that one little area. But for the most part, faster lines are going to look smoother. You want to try to do them all at once and not slow. That's what I have to offer anyway. Animations you submit in the submit channel. Were you going to say something, Nick?
I was just going to say, like, that's probably why I like 3D, because you don't have to be fine with lines or anything. It's a very rough process. Same reason I like painting. I don't like, doing fine things.
That fine detail.
Yeah. So fine detail I'm fine with, but in the process of doing it rather is rough, Mm-hmm. Yeah, so do you want to talk about anatomy now, or?
Sure, yeah.
I'm letting you take the reins on this one. Any might anything I'm like, I don't know.
As far as anatomy goes, it seems that you have a decent understanding of, like, the bulk of your character. Like, you seem to have at least somewhat of an understanding of things, relationships with each other's in 3D physical space. The issue usually tends to be more with proportions than anatomy, than other parts of anatomy, I mean. So just that, sometimes things are a little too big or too long. What I'm noticing is that her leg, like where her shoulder is, should be starting further down. You have to remember that she is a horse. She is also, I know that she's like a taller horse like Luna and Cadence and Fleur de Lis. So you need to give her that neck. So give her room for her neck and then start her limbs further down. And then her upper leg should probably be a little longer compared to the rest of it. Whoops, I clicked off of it. Additionally, her face, while the right size and shape technically, is too long. Like, it's squished out. Her muzzle should be shorter. And those are my main gripes. Her eyes look really nice. The shape is good, and it's good.
The main thing that bothered me was her neck. Like, shouldn't it curve forward as well?
I mean, that kind of depends on a few things.
I don't know, but like that's what I noticed.
Yeah, I think My Little Pony necks are kind of they're not as rigid as like real horse necks. Like, there's a certain shape that a real horse's neck would retain no matter which way it bent its head. But I think that...
Oh no, I'm not saying like it would be like near, you know what I mean? Like, I'm saying like near where it's connected to the head, it would curve a bit forward, like a human chin, you know? It transitions smoothly. This way, if it did like this, it'd like jut into the head, if that makes sense.
Oh no, they don't really do that.
Alright, then never mind.
The longer necks will do that like a tiny bit. Like the shorter ponies, their necks will kind of like go back even. And then the taller ones, theirs just go straight up.
You're making me not want to watch the show even more.
No one was pressuring you to do so.
I know. That's the worst part. I will say though, the background color with the pink doesn't go that well. I'd say you'd want to go for a darker background color for a bright character like this.
Oh yeah, I wanted to mention a thing. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure she's wearing a kind of shoe or glove type thing that is the same color as the background. But the fact that the background is the same color makes it hard to tell. If she's not wearing something on her foot there, and that gold part is the end of her hoof, then there should be hair there.
Hair?
How do you spell pirouette? Pirouettes. Luckily, I have the label right in front of me. Anyway, sorry, distracted by YouTube chat.
Why were you... What is about pirouette?
I was asked what I'm eating. I'm eating pirouettes.
Wait, isn't that a dance move?
Yes. It's a
What?
It's a ballet move, but it's also a food. Let's see.
Alrighty.
Pepperidge. Is that how it's spelled? Pepperidge Farm pirouettes. Images. I'm pulling up a thing so I can show you what I'm eating.
Alright.
These guys.
It's still looking for me. Oh, yeah, I think that's good.
Greetings.
Oh god. Is that Zolaris?
That's it.
That's me.
We still got 3 more pictures to go through, so
Yes, we do.
could use a helping hand. I see. So there, yeah, I've seen those things. Yeah. I just get the off-brand ones at like Dollar Tree.
Let me squeeze you in here on the thingy.
You got a picture for me?
I do.
Apparently, we don't have the thinking emoji.
Ooh. I like the way you draw, Zill.
I didn't really plan very well for having more than one other person, because there just really isn't room for them.
Just put me like sideways or something. Just kind
I tried to turn it, it didn't turn.
Have him on, like, just kind of on top of my face, just covering me up.
of.
I thought
Whoa.
you were just gonna leave him on the canvas. Oh, it's a Zill rave.
Went nuts for a second there. I was gonna draw one in case you didn't have one, and just be him picking his nose instead of pointing over there.
Alright, so this is perfect, right? Yeah, okay. So,
Yeah.
There we go, perfect.
so back to the show. Nextly, we have this...
Nextly?
we
Does
have
that work?
this... I think so. We have this picture of Palette drawn by Elise Universe. Tell me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. She's cheating. She already got critique on this.
Did she?
I've already offered her some advice with this one, so maybe you guys can.
I'm letting Zill take this one. He
It's-
also knows more about ponies.
What? Me?
Yeah, I'm the backseat person here. I don't watch the show. I don't know anything about the show.
Oh. Well, I don't think this character is canon, so it doesn't have to do with the show.
Well, I don't know anything about the arts. I've only done it like once.
I just realized she still doesn't have a tail.
You know what's funny? For a second, I asked myself, they have tails? Yeah, I was thinking a monkey tail. That's why.
There are horses.
Okay, so if I'm going to critique this,
I love the hooves. They're so cute.
yeah, the hooves look, they have like a nice, like a lot of the shapes have like possibly like actually good design to it. It's a little rough, it looks like. The anatomy is there, but it's very rough.
Mm-hmm.
The front leg.
They possibly maybe have good shape. I know that's not what you meant, but like. Anyways, continue.
Oh,
I'm gonna.
I just noticed something that I didn't see before now. She has like a human-looking neck.
Yeah.
Like it's just small all of a sudden where it comes out. It should be a smoother transition from body to neck.
Yeah. Let's see. That front leg that's closest to the camera, you don't want the lines, the edges to like be in line with other things like the body. You want to overlap it, make sure everything's are distinctly overlapped to have a more clear posing.
Oh yeah, that's a
silhouette.
I don't know the name for it, but that's a composition thing that I recently learned about.
Yeah.
Where you have trouble with things lining up weirdly.
Tangents.
So, a way that I could probably sum this up is if you were to do a silhouette for this one, instead of that looking like two legs, since that that front leg doesn't have its own distinct. It doesn't. It would.
Yeah, you want it to like have it so it would stand out.
Instead of looking like two legs, it would kind of look like one leg with a growth in the back of it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. She's walking on either a pineapple or the disco floor with very yellow lighting.
It's
No,
the
what I
yellow
thought
brick road.
No, what I
It
thought,
was
you know the battlefield in the first Dragon Ball Z episode where Cell's like challenges everyone?
oh yeah.
That's what I thought.
Makes sense. I can see that.
But anyways, I don't know how I feel about the green hill right behind a green character. It doesn't clash much, but like it's a bit odd, you know.
You said you didn't. I was only half listening. Did you say you didn't like the green background behind the green character?
Yeah.
It's grass.
No, I know, but like.
Like, what do you want her to do about that?
Bluegrass
Is
obvious.
The character is flat, and so is the background. So having a pattern on maybe the background would like help, you know.
It would help the contrast, yeah, but I think it's distinct enough already.
Fair enough.
They are
I'm just
very
offering.
different shades of green.
I just don't want to feel like I'm not offering anything.
Was it like I'm trying to figure out what's going on with like the edges. It looks like it was like copy and pasted or something.
That's probably because she redid the background entirely, and I don't think she has a very advanced drawing program, so she probably had to like crop it out.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that's just like kind of a tidy thing. Once you get it all done, tidy up the line work, back up to being the right widths. Yeah,
sometimes there's only so much you can do due to technical limitations.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this like style like with the big wings and the hooves and stuff. I think it's really cute.
Yeah.
It's more of like a natural pony, like an actual like long legs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they went like with something a little bit more like this for that reboot, that'd be nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and one other note. I guess if we're going to like depths of art stuff here, the hooves are on the opposite sides of the body, but they're on the same plane, like level on the ground. You'd want to make that back hoof that's touching the ground in the front further up. Just by like a smidge or two, just so it's not like lined up with that back leg, unless you meant to have it lined up like that. But if you have them have that other leg kind of up a little bit, it'll give it some depth to the character.
Yeah. They are on like the exact same plane.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
So just take this hoof and go like that, and you're good. Perfect. Now the drawing is perfect. Okay.
You hate for it to catch up, I'm sure. Yep. That's all you got to do.
We're doing with professionals here.
With art.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so should we go into the next piece?
Sure.
Yeah.
We have a picture by Aeromations of a guy. I can't for the life of me figure out what he's supposed to be doing. The first thing that I can tell you about this piece is you gotta crop it. You have like a whole bunch of completely empty space that is serving no purpose that I can figure out. So you want to crop that out.
Can I actually, like, my opinion is, like, that actually is serving somewhat of a purpose, because, like, I'm not sure if he's meant this in the religious way, but in Buddhism and other kind of Eastern religions, it's all supposed to be, like, you're escaping to a world of isolation, so a bunch of empty space can really help emphasize that.
Well, to me it doesn't help that it isn't, like, evenly cropped. Like, there's more on the right side than on the left, so I get the feeling that it's just leftover.
Off-center.
I guess. But to me, what I noticed first is, like, the clothing's weird in that it's really tight in some areas and then really loose in others. So, like, around the upper arms, it's, like, suction tight. But around the forearms, it's loose. But it's also not, like, draping like cloth would. It's just kind of floating there. You know what I mean? Whereas on the legs, it's loose and it's, actually drooping.
Mm-hmm. Something really interesting about this piece, about this art style, really, is that, it's the shading and lighting, displays, like, a firm understanding of light source, and shape, and yet the way that this is drawn takes away any amount of depth that this might have had.
Yeah.
It is a very, very flat image. In a way that looks intentional, but it's very flat.
Yeah. Also, the neck muscles. So, those neck muscles, they're aiming towards the middle of the collarbone, which they do kind of do, but at that angle, they'd, like, converge before they meet the collarbone, and they don't actually meet in the middle, they meet slightly to the sides. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that neck thing's a little weird. There's a number of lines on the head. I'm struggling with the zoom tool. A number of lines on the head that are the sort of things that I would have on a sketch layer and then erase later, but they are still here.
Yeah.
Like these outlines to the nose. I would draw them in the sketch so that I knew what the shape of the nose was, but later I would define that with shading instead of lines.
I mean, that part could be an art style thing, but I totally get what you mean.
And I think that's possibly why the neck looks so weird. I don't know. Maybe these lines are supposed to be the neck muscles, and then this is just the outline of the neck.
Well, okay, so real quick, what's throwing me off about the neck is that there's that triangle that doesn't look shaded at all. It just seems flat, and it's throwing off the entire shape of what the neck should be. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Also, the eyes, I'm realizing, they're not in the right position. They're way too low.
Are they? They look like they're about centered.
No.
They look close.
Well, the nose might be too low. Like, the ridge of the nose, you know what I mean?
Oh, you mean in comparison to the nose? Yeah. So the
because there's a dent in the nose before it hits the brow.
Yeah,
and it's way too low.
The most
in the
inset part of your nose should line up with the eyes, and I guess it does.
But like not in the right way, because the eyes are so vertical. They should be brought up more.
It feels like maybe the nose is too short.
Yeah. There's also no room for the part of the nose in between the nostrils and that, deepest set part. It's it's in that part where between the nostrils and the inset, it smooths into the cheeks, and there's no real room for that with the way the eyes are drawn.
It's kind of hard to comment on a lot of things because, this is clearly very stylized.
Yeah, and, it's almost like an animal-like nose that, comes forward.
The style, breaks a lot of rules. I assume intentionally, but breaks a lot of rules.
Mm-hmm.
It's I can't tell if it's a problem or a good thing,
Well, you can say what it looks like to you, because that could be how it's being interpreted, and that's something to be aware of when you have an art style.
That's true.
What it comes across as.
That's very true. Yeah, you can say, hey, it looks like your nose is freaking broken, and they can be like, that's what I was going for, nice.
This is weird to me. One heel is in front of the other, but it's supposed to be a even thing, but it doesn't look like it's intentionally in front of the other. You know what I mean? Oh,
yeah.
It looks like it was just an accident.
It looks like the feet should be heel to heel, but they're, or sole to sole, I mean, but they're side by side.
Yeah. There's a lot to say about it, because it's a good image, it's a lot.
It definitely, it sort of, I don't know, it conveys a mood, but I'm not sure what, because I don't know what this person is and what they're supposed to represent.
That's another thing, again, with what is the character thinking? We don't know anything about this.
I don't know what the mood is, but this is very mood.
Personally, if I were to do this myself, I would probably have his eyes closed and head tilted slightly up, because that would convey much more of a emotion rather than the half closed eye.
What if
he does have a very blank face.
Can we compare it to the next picture? Since they're both by the same artist, they're different stuff, but the art styles between the two would be interesting to help us kind of figure out where
the fire one is interesting, and I have to wonder if it's older because it has a repeat of a lot of the same things, but without looking as intentional. They look like mistakes here.
The arm length and the clothes.
The way that the clothes are hanging, it looks like the back of the shirt is way longer than the front, and the elbows are too low, and
the hands would reach past the knees.
Yeah, actually, the arms in their entirety are just too big.
They reach down the calf.
So this one looks flat, but it doesn't look like it was supposed to be because it doesn't have that symmetry thing going on.
Yeah, and the thing you said earlier about the cropping, this one actually emphasizes it because there's no reason. Now there's no reason for the extra space. Now he's just in a fire. There should be energy in this picture. Fire, a very energetic kind of thing. And he's just kind of there.
I'm
If that makes sense.
clicking all over the
The
place.
nose,
and things.
the nose shows where a lot more of what the style kind of is going
Yeah.
for.
Yeah, it makes more sense there than in the other one.
Also, kind of a boring face expression.
No
in both
emotion.
pictures, there's no emotion. There should be some, like in this, maybe have him like excited to be holding fire, like scared even about how he has the power or something. In this, he's just like, I have fire. Imagine if
what this-
someone from Avatar was like that.
What this does do is it serves to give me some context, and makes me assume that the other guy is Air.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. The file name, the first one says float. The other one says fire, and the one with fire says fire and water.
It says fire and water?
Yeah, if you open it in browser, it says fire and water.png, and the first one says float.png.
Well, the guy is floating.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he can't fall from there. He is doing that. What that can do.
And that seems vaguely air related.
Yeah.
Oh no, he said it is wind.
Nice. I was right. I like the gradient in the air. Although I should mention that it clearly didn't translate as air on its own. With
Right.
context, it made sense, but on its own, it didn't translate as air, and that's something to consider.
What I'd say for air, have his hair blowing or his clothes blowing in the breeze. Something as simple as that, instant. It's air,
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's more of that in the fire one, to be honest. Like, his shirt is going to a side,
Yeah, you can see in the fire one, his shirt looks like it's moving, because it's not just hanging on his body. If that was happening in the air one, it might convey a little bit more that this was air.
I will say he is very good at like cloth. That's a very difficult thing to draw. But at the same time in the fire one, it's very loose, like way too baggy. Like it may have been what he's going for, but like even then it seems off, Like cloth wouldn't drape like that. If it were, even that big. I don't know. Would you guys disagree, agree?
I think it's close enough to be believable, and that's good enough for me.
Fair enough. Well, also, it's not draping on the arms again. It's floating in the air, like in the
Yeah.
other one.
Yeah, the fire one was made before,
Right.
so
One
they might
clear,
have tight.
I can see some clear improvements. Like the line work got a lot cleaner, sharper.
Yeah.
Um,
But the main thing I'd suggest for like the whole thing, put energy into the characters and put emotion into them, because so far it's just blank expression, no real energy in the poses. It's just
I think it is entirely the fault of the facial expression that the fire pose, despite how it's dynamic, it has just no energy at all.
yeah, definitely at least for the fire pose.
I agree.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Aeromations is 13. Who wants us to know?
Oh,
I mean, more than I was doing at 13. That's for damn sure.
that's better than a lot of stuff I do when I'm 30.
Wait, you're 30?
I'm 30.
All right then.
Congratulations.
For some reason, I thought you were 24.
Ha!
Did you ask him
I
that
don't know
6
why-
years ago?
I don't know why I had specifically 24 in my mind, but I did.
I come across it as a much younger person in
Hey,
person
as
as
my
well.
oldest brother, so
Okay.
Okay, so we have Lefea
Lafia.
done by Wolfchild. I don't know anything about who she is or who she's supposed to be, but she's clearly some kind of like Roman soldier.
Yeah.
And she posted this in ArtShare before, and I commented on how her eye is broken.
It's like shooting out from the face.
She has, well, I think that's her eyelashes, but also not just that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Just that eye is just totally messed up. The iris, what is there of it, is not colored. There's nothing to indicate that she has a black eye or anything like that. Maybe she's mid-wink, but she's not smiling.
Maybe it's a very sad wink. It's like, yeah, your friend died in battle. Sorry.
It's very odd.
Maybe she has some dirt in her eye or something.
Yeah, and she can't
Could be.
like scratch it because she has a spear in her hand. If she tried to scratch it, it'd just go straight through the eye.
Yeah, spears. It's not recommended. 9 out of 10 doctors don't recommend scratching your eye with a spear.
Something else about this drawing is how, even though this is clearly a digital drawing, you have somehow managed to make some parts of it look like they were colored with marker.
Which I will say, that was the first thing I noticed.
Yeah, it stands out with the texture, all the texture stuff.
Like
I'm not sure what
it
you're
looks
going
like you
for,
were trying
though.
to do a painting, but like only for part of it, like the metallic texture, which I get. I'd say
it stands out that it's not consistently on all of it, and I'm not sure what you're trying to do with it.
Well, she tried this. If you look at the gold, it's the same kind of way. It's just that.
So is it supposed to be a metal texture then?
Yeah. For sure. Also on the bronze. It's just the method she used doesn't quite convey that well.
Yeah.
Because also in the metal hat like part where the red comes out, it's not the same. It's a flat color. So.
When you don't have reflections to work with, because reflections really help metal look like metal, but when you don't have reflections to work with, the only thing that you can do to make metal look like metal is make sure that you have show that it's very shiny, put a very sharp highlight on it.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Always, I like shading and highlight would definitely come before texture, in my opinion. Would you agree? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never really noticed like texture is like a last detail. You save that for later.
Like what you have here, if it conveys anything, it might convey a sort of scratched up sort of look. But the way that you've gone about it really contrasts with how other elements are just plain solid colors.
Yeah, if you're gonna do like texture on one thing, you gotta do textures on other stuff too.
Yeah.
Or neither. You gotta be consistent with that. I'd work on shading before textures for most things, because like the metal texture is mostly just a bunch of smudges, but things like the wooden stick or like the hair thing, ridge, whatever those things are called on the helmet, those things would be stuff that would require more texture to look good.
I used to know what that
to
was
look
called.
better.
The broom.
The royal floof. The royal Roman floof.
Technically, it wouldn't be royal since it didn't have king.
Not anymore. I'm the king now.
Also, the pose doesn't quite make sense in general. Like, I don't know what you're trying to convey. That's the most important thing in any kind of piece of art. What are you trying to convey, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like, from what I'm getting, she's trying to look cute because of the wink. You know?
No, I'm not getting that at all.
Well, well, what are you getting? Because that's the thing I'm
Like, that's what you're focusing on is the wink. Like, that could just be, like, an accent to, like, the situation. I'm not sure what her expression is. She just seems unhappy. But it's also, you got her facing towards the left, and her head kind of turned towards us. So she's kind of got this, like, it's more of like a reserved pose. Like, are you looking? Maybe she's like doing that thing where like you close one eye to focus, looking left or something. Not entirely sure, but like,
yeah.
She seems to be like her main attention, like she was going towards something else, and then suddenly the attention's towards the camera.
I see what you're saying. If you're going for that, then I'd have her stiffen up. Her shoulder's way too high. That looks like a pose. Shoulder should be straight, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And head back, very attention. Spear,
right.
Up, shield down.
Here's a question: what would be the first, like the next step to level up this art? Should we go for proportions? Should we stick to like learning
Shading.
The colors? Shading.
No. I honestly pose.
Also,
Pose?
I would say the background should not be the same color as her armor.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Accurate, yes.
But I think that I think shading.
Really?
I think shading would add a lot to this piece in particular.
For me, I think it's always pose, because, like, I can get a lot through a silhouette. I can't get a lot through shading.
I mean, this already has a decent silhouette. Like, it's...
Like, you can tell what it is, definitely.
Yeah.
I can't tell. Like, what I'm saying more is I can't tell what's going on in it.
The reason that I say shading, I guess, is because the pose is decent. It's not like it's a mess or anything like that.
Yeah.
Even though it has places that it can improve. But what I assume is an attempt at adding something sort of shading-y with those textures didn't go over well. And so to see that replaced with, something that properly conveys that that's metal by adding shininess to it, I think that would help the piece a lot.
Right.
Okay.
Do that. Thoughts still?
Do we
I think
have
so.
anything else after this? No, we don't. So we can talk about this more.
Okay. Let's see.
Or we can convey that either way. I'm not gonna force you to think of stuff when you've got nothing to say.
I like the design around the shield. Like, that's decently consistent all the way around, and
Yeah, that's one thing I just think about.
really annoying to do.
Yeah. I will say, actually, the texture on the gold part of it isn't bad. It's subtle, but it works,
It might work because it's subtle.
Oh, yeah. But, that's the thing. With texture for, metal, you don't want to go overboard. If you do, you get, the helmet. I just hit my laptop. Ignore that. But you get what happened on the helmet. When you go more subtle, you get the bronze and the gold. I don't know.
All right.
Well, I suppose that's it then.
That's that.
That's a wrap.
All right. Well, with that being our last submission, I want to thank everyone for coming to the very first critique stream, and I hope that those of you who did submit got something out of it.
I will say, it went pretty well for first.
Yeah. We got the chance to talk about some good topics and hopefully help some people out. So, yeah, the next one of these will be in about a month. Hope to see you there. Thanks for coming.